It's Friday night here on UCY.TV, and you are listening to live radio. Thanks, Josh, for Anti-Tyranny News. That was an excellent broadcast. Lots of good commentary from clips and whatnot. And you are listening to Boiler Room. I am your host, Jim Funke, and the guy over there on the East Coast that usually hosts with me, and I'm going to get him to do a show by himself one of these days. Mr. Lance Musser. How's it hanging, Lance?
Pretty good. Just got back from the golf course, walking 9 holes with my dad. So it was a good evening.
Nice.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well. Weather was 65, 66.
Did you tote the beer? Did Pops tote the beer?
No, we didn't drink any beer.
Oh, damn it.
We didn't drink any beer. We just walked 9 holes.
So you actually shot under par then?
Oh, hell no. I've never shot under par. I think my best round was like 76 or 77 out of a par 72.
Right.
That was when I was playing 3 days a week. And I don't play but once, twice, 3 times a month now. So.
Aye.
Yeah.
Cutting into your strokes?
Real life has definitely gotten in the way of my golf game, damn it. Yeah, I've added at least 10 strokes. If I get in the 80s now, I'm happy, but I was in the low 80s consistently. And now if I break 90, I'm happy.
Yikes. I know the game. I know how to play the game. Mm-hmm. I used to have my own set of clubs. They didn't make the move down here with me. Mm-hmm. But, the one thing that I enjoyed the shit out of is just going out to the driving range and just bashing balls.
Oh yeah.
Just smashing them and seeing how far you could drive them.
Oh yeah. Well, now that I can beat my dad, I grew up first 30 years of my life. I could never beat him in one sport. And then finally I beat him about, 6, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. Nice. And now it's child's play, as they say now.
The student has beaten the master.
Yeah, but he's like 65, 66 now, and everybody's like, oh yeah, you feel real good beating up on an old man now. And I'm like, I can't win for losing.
He still carries his own clubs. Don't give him that.
That's right.
All right, man. Let's jump off the golf tee and right into the pork bong. And we'll hit up Smoke'em's Market Minute. Find out what the hell's going on Wall Street.
If you have a 401k, it didn't do anything today. So, it went down.
It was actually down 30 or 27 or something.
28.28 is what it was down. But, that's.
It was a lot of roller coasting today, though, boy. Up 100 and something at one point. And
the high was up to 16.4 and it ended at 16.3. So it was up and down. Mm-hmm. Bond market actually did good today, but that was good bond market for interest rates because for the last 2 days we've been taking a beating. So it was nice to see some green on the boards today.
Good. Yeah. Yep. I don't get anything from you email wise unless it's tanking. So
yeah, exactly. Or
since I didn't get anything from you in the email, it was going to be okay today.
It's one of those no news is good news.
Right.
Going into my couple stories.
Yeah.
That I always placed up here. New Zealand joins China.
Oh, Jesus.
And drops the bombshell on the U.S., the dollar, and new direct trade agreement. The country of New Zealand has dropped the latest bombshell on the U.S. dollar. And that they will begin trading directly with China. And that's another blow to the status of the U.S. dollar as the world's currency. With China and Russia previously dropping financial bombshells on the U.S., the coming end of the dollar as reserve currency will leave unprepared Americans destitute, which we've been talking about quite a bit. An increasing number of financial experts are saying the United States dollar is no longer a reliable and dependable currency, and its downfall is inevitable. There are some experts who think the dollar is so unstable that the Chinese yuan will soon become the world's reserve currency or currency of choice. That was one, and it wasn't too hard to flip around today on my stories, and 3 of them were kind of right along the same thing. Next story was Russia threatened to dump its U.S. treasuries if America imposed sanctions regarding Russia's actions in the Crimea, which you got to love. Putin opened up a bank account today with one of the banks that we sanctioned. Did you see that? If that wasn't.
And he almost come out and said, hey, look, I'm going to sanction all your guys just like you're sanctioning me. How many was it? 17, 30? Just 13, kidding.
It's up 20.
But then he said, just kidding.
No,
it's like he's poking at his ass, man. He's like, I'm not going to sanction nobody over here. I'm not that, come on. That's childlike.
McCain, it was putting out on Twitter, I'm proud to be sanctioned by, and fighting for the
blah, 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 blah
people and the Crimea. And I'm like, shut the hell up. Go back, you warmonger. But
Crimea was setting off fireworks last night because they joined Russia.
Celebrating, yeah.
Yeah. So who do you think you're kidding up there on Capitol Hill?
Thank you.
Big bunch of know-nothings.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. When they were talking about the America imposed sanctions regarding Russia, but it's arguable that Russia's already done so. Veteran investor Jim Sinclair argues that Russia has a much scarier financial attack, which Russia can use against the U.S. Specifically, the Russian accepts payments for oil and gas in any currency other than the dollar. And that's whether it's gold, euro, the ruble, rupee, or anything else, the U.S. petrodollar will collapse. All it takes is one big company. And we've been saying that for a year? That's all that it would take is another big countries trading their oil and not dollars.
This is the whole reason that we went into Iraq, because Saddam was selling his oil for gold.
Yep. I believe Gaddafi was getting ready to do the same thing.
He threatened to do the same thing, yeah.
He threatened to do the same thing. So you know where that got him.
Yeah.
What is this one? There was one more story that talks about, we're self-destructing ourselves, which we are. I mean, our feds are not that they're federal, not that they're any reserves, or not that there's a bank. But they are definitely printing us into oblivion, and where it stops, nobody knows.
Is that where that's going? Oblivion?
That could be
terrible.
That could be. But if you're not prepared, you're going to be unprepared.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Thanks, great stater of the obvious.
You, my brother. Okay. So was that one story? Or was that two stories? Cause that was a huge amount of information that you just dropped.
It was two. Well, it was two stories, both of them, directed at the same exact thing.
Right.
And there was actually a third story, which even confirmed it even more, that talked about, we've got now 6 major players in the financial market saying, anybody who tries to predict the fall of the dollar, it's almost like that Bible quote.
Yeah, eat your hat.
Nobody knows the day, hour, time, that
only the Creator. Right.
Correct. And for anybody, even us, Manarino, Sinclair, it doesn't matter. For anybody to say this is when it's going to end, we're puffing smoke, obviously. But we know it's coming, but we can't place it.
But it could be to the point now, and I think it actually is, that it's because everything's been stretched so far. And we are just at the edge. I mean, tipping point, right? Tipping point. Everybody's talking about it. There's a tipping point that you're going to hit, and there's markers that you have to watch, and blah, blah, blah. But it's been manipulated and stretched out so far now that it could be down to one person making one choice, making one move on the market, making one decision politically. That could set it off. I think it's gotten to that point. It's not going to be, it still could stretch out. It could happen over a period of weeks or whatever, but it could also happen in a split second.
the majority of the people are saying 2014, but they're very hesitant to give a quarter or a month for that matter. But
how long do you think it's going to take for Ukraine to blow up, to completely blow up? Because they just signed a deal with Germany and the EU.
Well, I know, and you're right. I mean, but the problem that we saw last time in 2008 is, if you remember, the actual crash was like the beginning of summer of 2008. But
yeah, about June.
But the problem was, those of us in the markets knew in 2007, when all these mortgage companies and finance companies started closing their doors.
Look what's happening now.
Well, we knew, thank you very much. That's what I was getting at. I mean, we knew 6, 7, 8 months before it was on. Brian Williams was talking about it on the news. So
what are you saying? 6, 7, 8 months?
You know, we've already,
we put it around December.
We put all the stories, you know, out. We've been talking about them, about all Chase is laying off thousands of mortgage people.
My God, man. All the big boxes are closing.
That's what I was about to say. We went over that article a couple weeks ago about the JCPenney's closing, the Radio Shacks closing, the Blockbusters, you name it. I mean, there's a plethora of them that were closing. Last time it was banks that closed ahead of time. This time it's brick and mortar stores that are actually closing ahead of time.
And mortgages, bang.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, I even sent you that thing about subprime is back, which if you.
But there's so many people. Okay. Who right now, if you have a job right now, you're goddamn lucky you got a job, dude. You know, you're lucky you've got a job.
Because there's 30% of the people without one.
Right. And who's going to shake that tree? I mean, who right now is thinking to themselves, I'm in the market for a house?
You would be amazed. I believe it's regionalized, because around here, we are not feeling the pinch. Yes, our prices are high. Yes, our food's high. Yes, our gas is high. But we're a huge military
what I'm saying
area.
Is, okay.
I mean, there's plenty of people buying houses here. The rest of the country.
And they're all military people that are guaranteed a salary. But what I'm saying is
but I would say the majority of them are either hospital workers, first responders, whether it be police or firemen, shipyard. So you go into defense industry. I would say 60% of the people around here work for the defense industry in some way or another, that are buying homes. I mean, so that's, you know, we have a little bit different.
Well, all the people outside Newport News, Virginia,
right,
are thinking to themselves, yeah, either I'm lucky I still have a house because I really can't afford to make the mortgage payment on it because I haven't had a job in 10 months. Mm-hmm. Or they're thinking, you know, I'm just at the point right now where I'm glad I have a job and I'm making ends meet and I'm not going to shake anything loose because this economy's on the brink. And who would step into a brand new house when the economy's on the brink?
Let me give you a stat.
Sleeple?
The typical 90-day past due amount of a portfolio is about 2 to 3%. That's what's bearable. It's almost up to 20% right now that FHA loans are 90 days past due or more. That's a lot.
Amongst the other debts that this country has incurred over the last decade.
Some quadrillion. We talked about it the other night. The number was just baffling.
Yeah.
1,000 trillion.
Yeah, that's a quadrillion. That's one quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. And $1 trillion, if anybody doesn't know this, $1 trillion, if you were to take $1 bills and stack them face to face, it would be a stack of bills 63 miles high.
That's pretty high.
Yeah. That's out past every satellite we've got. That's out past the space station. That's out past everything.
Well, now that it's getting warm again, everybody needs to plant and till up their garden if they haven't already started it, because that's one way we can say, screw you to, the establishment. Don't buy. If you're going to buy food, obviously buy it from your local farmer's market, fruit and stuff like that. But hey, start growing your own.
Mm-hmm. When you grow your own when you grow your own food, it's like printing money and putting it in your wallet. Mm-hmm. And it's also like giving a great big finger to Monsanto.
And you know what pesticides you put on it, if you put any on it.
If you put any, you don't have to. DE works to just about anything. If you use diatomaceous earth, mm-hmm. you won't have a pest problem usually.
Right. And there's plants and stuff that you can plant around them to be friendly too, though. So we got to get smarter.
Yeah. We have to get independent.
We're working towards it. That's for sure.
We have to
more and more people are waking up every day. I see it on Facebook. I mean, more and more people are waking up. There's people like us that aren't stopping talking.
Back to the earth from where we all came.
The Native American, the Indians, had it right. Too bad we screwed that up for them.
So did the early settlers that paid attention to them and didn't shoot them.
Yeah.
All right. We're kind of getting down a rabbit hole. Let's get back to
it was all financial stuff.
Yeah, financial. You done with your Smoke'em's Market Minute?
Yeah, we're ready for Scott.
Okay. We'll jump over here and get Scott then. The title of today's is Illegal Evidence.
Hello, this is Scott and this is a Hype Report. Today's report is sponsored by the free book Ramblings of a Madman. Here are the quotes for various items. First, hard choices. According to the director of the Congressional Budget Office, the U.S. faces fundamental fiscal challenges stemming from the growth in spending for Social Security and major health care programs. In short, the can has been kicked as far as it can, and now it is time to pay the piper or go to war to hide the mess. Next, QE infinity. According to Gerald Celente, who correctly predicted every single Fed tapering, is forecasting QE to infinity. Even though the Fed tapered, the reaction of fear by the markets is going to force the Fed to reverse their policy and juice the economy. At this point, it is simple math in that when the stimulus stops, the economy slows. Next, home sales. Existing home sales have dropped to the lowest level in 19 months. In addition, sales of housing costs $0 to $100 fell 18%. Wow, that's cheap unless one includes the non-disclosed expenses like back taxes. Anyways, aside from the weather being blamed yet again, now we are hearing that student loans are now being blamed. Next, toothless mandate. The Obama-Rec individual mandate is key to making the scam work. With that said, the uninsured can avoid paying the mandate penalty for a variety of reasons, such as having their previous insurance canceled because of Obama-Rec. In short, without a real mandate, the whole scam is going to collapse. Makes you wonder if the people who wrote this were dumb, evil, or both. Next, illegal evidence. A Texas court in direct contradiction to the U.S. Constitution has ruled that evidence collected illegally can be used in court. For example, unwarranted searches yielding criminal evidence which could have been planted by police themselves can be legally used. In short, if this is allowed to stand, the only right a person will have is the right to die. Next, NASA fear. NASA, formerly a government agency that explored outer space, is now into spreading the paranoia that society will collapse if there is not more wealth distribution. So, will the taxpayer-funded NASA completely give up on astronomy and start pushing astrology now? Next, press rehearsal. How bad is the propaganda when Obama's press secretary Jay Carney receives questions from the press in advance of his daily press briefings? How long before we hear that White House officials are actually writing the questions as well? Finally, please prepare now for the escalating economic and social unrest. Good day.
Comments?
I do, actually, on the mortgages. Because I just got to thinking about...
I thought you would.
Well, and I got to thinking about my last sales meeting last week, and they went over the top 10. Every month they always go over the top 10 for the people for the previous month.
Do they have Dave Letterman come out?
Almost. We have a different person.
That would have been excellent if he'd have come out of retirement for y'all.
No, we don't do that. But normally to get into the top 10, usually you've got to do about $1.5 million in volume per month. Usually the top 3 people are anywhere from 2.5 to 4 million per month. And
it's moving some fucking houses, brother.
It is. I mean, it's, think about it. If you do 4 loans at $250,000 a piece, you're at $1 million. And, you know,
a month, you're lucky to do that. Well, never mind. Go ahead.
Well, and see, that's the thing. Most of our people, you know, average.
You're East Coast, man. You guys got a shitload of people out there. That's
we do. We do. And our real estate's higher and everything else. Right. But our top person last month did 1.5 million. So, you know, when our conversation of, is it down? Yeah, I got to thinking about it. You know what?
Congratulations to him and his fucking hair plugs, man.
Yeah, that is a pretty bad month when our top loan officer does $1.5 million per month. And that's 2.5 million less than what he normally does. So yeah, it must have been a bad, January, February. Overall, I mean.
And what do you make? 2%?
Do what now?
What do you make when you close 2%? What's your commission?
No, that's what realtors make. I mean, we make what's called 80 bips. So I'll give you an equation. If you do $1 million a month, you make $8,000 a month gross.
That's not
all you have to do is $1 million a month, and you make $8,000 a month gross. That's before taxes, obviously.
That's not bad money.
No, that's why I made 6 figures for 3-4 years in a row, because it was like, as the saying goes, club and baby seals. I mean, it was easy.
Because nobody had to show any documentation.
Thank you. All you had to do was have a heartbeat. That's it. I mean, all you had to do was have a heartbeat.
And now refresh everybody's memory. Those subprimes are back.
They're coming back. I sent you that email. That email came up to me a couple weeks ago. Big bold letters. Subprime is back. And we talked about that. If mortgage applications were down, you know the greedy people still got to get their money. So what are we going to do? Let's loosen up the standards a little bit so we can keep that level of profit that we're used to making.
And that's why you don't think that the 66% is a valid number at all.
Right.
The mortgages are down 66%.
Maybe nationwide, but you're taking places like Detroit into that number.
Oh yeah, that's true. And you could take out 2 or 3 major cities that are having a downfall and make a huge difference in the numbers. Yeah. So yeah, if that is a nationwide average, then it's fairly skewed because of certain financial meltdowns.
Right. It's just like we have the highest murder rate, but if you take Chicago, New York, Detroit, and LA out of the numbers, we're actually like number 28.
Right.
So 4 cities are skewing our numbers, and I think it's the same thing on these mortgages.
And all 4 of those cities are gun-free zones.
Yeah, that's what's the funniest part. Tell me that isn't ironic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, I did listen to Man Reno today. He kind of got long in the mouth, you know, so I don't think I'm going to play him. He had some fairly good things to say, but it was mostly it was kind of scattered out through the video. And he was talking to his brothers on Wall Street mostly about how to ride this thing out and where to do. And if you want to be a bull, you can be a bull, but you got to be a day trader to be a bull, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And we can save him for our 2-hour shows anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, because we roll right on through these 1 hours.
They're up before you know it.
Yeah, because I'm long in the tooth too.
That's right.
But anyway, you got anything right in front of you that you want to talk about?
I mean, everything that's, you got the plane in Crimea and Russia. Those are the only 2 things on everybody's, back burner right now.
Yeah. And Crimea voted 96% to join Russia, to rejoin Russia. Everybody in Sevastopol was with them. Everybody that was in the Crimean parliament or whatever they are, because they were their own independent little adjunct off of Ukraine. They had their own government. They had their own police force. They had their own military. So I don't have any understanding as to why the people in Washington, D.C. and the people at the UN are flicking boogers at this. There's absolutely no reason for them to be doing that. These are 2 independent countries, 3 independent countries that we have absolutely nothing to do with other than a minimal amount of trade. And yet we're throwing our 2 cents in to what they're doing on their own.
Can I get your take on something?
Absolutely.
I was reading an article, and I can't remember if I dropped it to you or we were listening to it. But there's quite a few predictions that Putin's not stopping with Ukraine.
He wants to take over all of Europe again.
Well, the Soviet bloc countries again.
Right. Belarus, a couple of the stands, all the way up to the Arctic Ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I saw that.
I even heard him, saw that article that they might even want to take Alaska back, but that would be dumb because of all the pretty advanced, high-trained military that we do have up there.
They've got a lot too. See, that's what I'm saying, with all this, and I think that's a big propaganda piece coming out of the U.S., I don't know who dropped it. I don't know where it came from. I saw that you had it there. I saw the tag on it, but I didn't say where it was from. I didn't see where it was from.
Me either.
But anyway, I think that the American media is in the back pocket of the White House, and they're pushing all of this propaganda around the U.S. and whoever else watches, because there's a lot of foreign countries that watch U.S. news and shit. And they're going to ratchet this thing up into World War III if they don't knock it off, But I don't think they're going to knock it off. I don't see it that far off, actually.
I have a hard time grasping it. The saying goes, after World War III, World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones and spears again.
Yep. You're right. You're right.
But that's why I have a hard time grasping it, because it's the MAD, mutually assured destruction. I can't see anybody doing it. I just have a hard time grasping that.
Well, they have things called tactical nukes. Okay. You okay over there?
I knocked the ashtray with my glass.
Oh, I was checking on you. Make sure you didn't fall out of the chair.
Nope.
They have tactical nukes. Okay. They have some that are small enough to where they can just annihilate a city block, actually. There's a lot of fallout from that, but I mean, as far as imminent destruction, it could be reduced to the size of, like 40 acres, 50 acres. So.
And when you say fallout, would that be more or less than what's coming out of Fukushima every day?
Less. A nuclear weapon, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just wanted you to make that
point.
Even
a large thermonuclear weapon, like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they were pretty good sized cities. But when you got outside of the city, the radiation dissipated, dramatically. So if you're more than 100 miles from ground zero on a nuclear detonation from a missile, intercontinental ballistic missile, you're good. You're golden. I mean, there's going to be wind directional fallout and stuff like that. And like the stuff that happens, you might get cancer 50 years away, or you might have, but that's, what I'm saying? It's not like, you're not outrunning a biologic. You're not going to outrun a biologic. If it gets caught in the wind and it's a huge release, it's going to wipe out a half a state, maybe a whole state, depending on the size of it.
True. And to digress 1 minute, when you said Nagasaki and Hiroshima, if anybody hasn't gone and watched the Fat Man video that surfaced, they ought to go Google or go to YouTube and Google the Fat Man, and they have the footage of it loading into the plane and dropping and everything else. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and you see the mushroom cloud rising up over Japan.
From the plane, video from that plane. So if anybody hadn't seen that, it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah. It's, and I don't see it that far off, man. I really don't see it that far off. Look, we've got people all the way around Russia.
There's no winners.
I don't think they want winners, man. That's what I'm trying to get at. I think this is part of the plan. This is part of this is, hey, you want to get the population down to 500 million, Jack? Here's the best way to do it. Let's start detonating nuclear weapons all over the goddamn planet and just let them all die. You get where I'm going?
Yeah.
And look, we've got military assets surrounding Putin, and he knows it.
Oh yeah, he knows.
He started moving all kinds of stuff to the borders.
Aren't we exercising with Poland right now?
And they also got in a bunch of flights with Germany. They've teamed up with Germany and did a bunch of flights over the Ukrainian border and shit to see what was going on and blah, blah, blah. So look, the UN sticking their nose in, like I said just a minute ago, where it does not belong. Again. And they are going to push this thing and push this thing and push this thing into World War III. Well, simply over gas, oil, money, and control of people.
If you notice, Putin's response to almost everything has been mirrors our responses when we invaded other countries in the past. He's using our techniques, taglines.
Yeah, he's using our techniques.
Points.
Exactly. Yeah. So he can get on the world stage and go, hey, what's it? What, you did this here. You did this here. You did this here. You did this here. You did it in 20 different places in the last 25 years.
And he has pointed it out. Very eloquently, too, I might add.
And he's also pointed out that they did it at the behest of the banks.
Nothing happens without a banker telling somebody something's going to happen. I believe that. I firmly believe that. I've believed that for a number of years now, that nothing happens, no wars happen without a banker directing it.
Because that's where money's at. Yep. Not money for anybody that's dying, but money for Raytheon, 3M, who else? I mean, all the shipbuilders over there, the weapons manufacturer, General Electric, that's big money. And all the people on Capitol Hill are stockholders, man. 50% of them are millionaires.
So you're thinking all these deep underground military bunkers are for a nuclear event?
I don't know, dude. I'm just trying to put the dots together. Everything keeps changing around so freaking fast. It's hard to keep up.
I mean, it's hard to keep up. It's coming at you from so many points, but you got to think that if there was a nuclear attack, that all our Congress and our continuity of government, if you will, would all be protected, leaving us unprotected.
Yeah, absolutely. And they'll just ride it out. Hey, okay, the radiation's going to be gone in about 30 days. We got 90 days worth of food down here. We're golden.
Shit, they can grow their own. What are you talking about?
I know. But, they got stockpiles. Takes longer than 90 days to grow unless you got hydroponics going on, 24-hour, whatever. But anyway. I'm just looking at things. I'm seeing things that are unfolding in front of my eyes, and everything is on the brink. Everybody is on the brink. There's so many countries on the brink of failure. There's so many banks on the brink of failure. There's so many student loans out there. There's so many houses out there that are everything. You look everywhere, and everything is on the brink of failure. We
can't fix potholes on our roads.
Exactly.
We can't take care of our veterans. But somehow we have $1 billion to go into another freaking war? What the hell? So again, it's the bankers, and just like it was just put in the room, the bankers are financing both sides of this shit. So they're the only ones winning.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I don't see any way out. I mean, you people can wake up as fast as you want. I don't see any way out. I really don't. And I don't like being like this, man. I really don't. I don't want to see a nuclear weapon go off anywhere around my nice little piece of property now. I'm getting this fucker set up the way I want it, man.
And that's why I just have a hard time believing that there will actually be a World War III with nuclear weapons. I can go with the financial collapse.
Not a bunch of bombs going off all over the planet and everything lighting up green. You know what I mean? Maybe not like that, but there's going to be a couple of detonations. And there's going to be war. There's going to be war. There's going to be invasions. There's going to be death. And it's not going to be over there. You dig what I'm saying? It's going to come here this time. It's going to come here.
Well, there hadn't been a war here since the 1800s.
We're not ready. All of our troops are overseas. You know what I mean?
Well,
there's nothing they can do.
If you remember Obama, our Department of Homeland Security needs to be just as well funded and armed as our military. That was his stump speech.
But he forgot one thing: training.
Hopefully that they're gonna rise
training.
up and say, "I'm not."
No, training.
They are training. Half of them are freaking veterans.
Well, and half of them are dumb.
I'm sure there's an IQ test to get into that, just like there is police
80
and infantry and everything else.
80.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you don't pass real high when you join the military, where do you end up?
On the front line.
Infantry.
With a gun.
Yeah.
Dying. Killing. For nothing.
When people ask me if I support the troops, I say, if you really supported the troops, you would be standing up and fighting against unjust wars.
And telling them to come home.
Right. So, yes, I support the troops, but I don't support what the troops are doing that they're being told by sadistical sons of bitches.
Yeah, I support the troops. I don't support the military. I support the troops, each individual one, but I don't support the military because it is an industrial complex and it is doing things that are heinous around this planet. Not just illegal. That's beside the point. They are doing heinous things.
But if you're living in Mountain Home, Arkansas, and you graduated high school and you can't find a job anywhere, guess who will take you?
Oh yeah, they'll put some boots on your feet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And let the brainwashing start.
Absolutely. Here, take this vaccine, man. We're getting ready to send you into a terrible place.
Did you see the chewing gum?
Oh yeah, they want to come out with chewing gum now that'll let you not brush your teeth anymore.
Yeah.
When you're in war, you don't have to stop brushing your teeth. You just pop this thing in.
You remember that video we saw of the special forces people where they were giving themselves shots or something before they went into war? I think
suppositories.
Suppositories, that's what it was. I think there's something in that gum that's going to do the same kind of thing.
Absolutely. It's not just good for you. It's good for you.
They should just put some fluoride in the canteens if they want to help our teeth out. I mean,
and they're probably lined with fluoride. And they just, there's going to be, what flavor do you want? You want bubble gum flavored?
Exactly.
Cause that's got the Thorazine in it. You won't feel shit for 3 days if you chew on this bad boy. Mm-hmm. Just go out and start banging away. It don't matter if you're shooting puppies or kids or just go kill.
Speaking of the cops, I dropped you a good story today.
Yeah. Yeah. Police actually being police. Mm-hmm. These cops actually used a less than lethal round to stop this cat instead of just blowing him away.
And just for the listeners, I'll say it real quick.
Go ahead and read that story. Go ahead and read that story.
I don't have the story. I can almost read it from the top of my head. Where my office is, this was actually about maybe an eighth of a mile away. My office is at the edge of Kiln Creek, which is that neighborhood. So at 3:00 this morning, they got a phone call. They were trying to serve a warrant at 3:00 in the morning.
I got it.
Oh, you got the article?
Yeah.
Read it then, please. Because what the hell were they doing serving a warrant at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning?
That's kind of a dumb time.
Well, unless they're trying to catch somebody off guard.
Yeah. 5:45 a.m. Oh, wait, I better read it from the bottom up, huh?
Right, bottom up, because that's an update.
Okay. A standoff is underway in a Newport News neighborhood. A man refused to give up when police tried to serve a fugitive warrant for assault and battery at a home on Berkshire Drive, said Officer Harold Ellie. Ellie says the man and another person are in the home, and it's unknown whether this man has any weapons. When efforts to get the man to surrender failed, the tactical team was called in at 3:50 a.m. This area is in the Kiln Creek neighborhood. And then this next update, 5:45 a.m.
And I'll tell you what, that's $500,000 home neighborhood.
Ooh, man.
Yes.
Okay. And then here's the end of the story. This was the update at 5:45. A 36-year-old Ralph Ledford came out of his home at 5:20 a.m. and was taken into custody. Officer Harold Ellie Eli, sorry. Says police fired a less than lethal round, a beanbag, and he was wanted on 2 fugitive warrants out of West Point for burglary and assault and battery of a family member. His mother, 59-year-old Beverly Hayes, is charged with obstruction of justice. So they popped this guy with a beanbag round out of a shotgun instead of a taser or a 308 or 223 or 40. 140s. It doesn't seem like they can fire just one round anymore. They have to empty their clip along with 6 other officers.
But see, that's why when we talk about police brutality and all the stories that are happening around the United States, and I always say, I don't see it here. And there's my proof of why we don't see it here. How many cities in the United States could that article have read differently this morning?
Oh, absolutely, man. If it was in, Indianapolis or Chicago or Philadelphia or
Atlanta,
LA,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Dallas. If it was down in the Southwest in Arizona, they'd have took the guy in and gave him a anal probe for another 5 hours after they beanbagged him. But no. Yeah. Most of the time he would have got his face shot off. Yeah.
I mean, it was good to see cops being cops.
It was. That's what we buy these things for them. Why don't they use them?
Yep.
It's always, let's go for the gun now. Let's go for the gun. Even the guy, remember, what was it, 2 years ago, I think, the cat that got shot in the back in the subway?
Yep.
The cop said, hey, I thought it was my taser. Sorry. And he got off. He shot the guy through the back and killed him, cause he bled out right there in the subway platform. He pumped one right through his kidney and bled him out. And said, oh, man, I thought it was my taser.
But, just like everything else that goes on, bad versus good, you won't see this story on any other news except our local news. It won't make national. It won't make police brutality.
Oh, no, because this dude lived.
Right. It won't make any story because the guy lived. And there is, a better way to do it. But again, this story won't get out that some cops are doing right.
It's a wonder they didn't call him a domestic terrorist. Domestic terrorist taken down with beanbag round. Felony having. They could have. They blow shit out of proportion like that all the time. Mm-hmm. This is a 20-year-old kid. What, you said what? You guys are like associated with that family. The 20-year-old that was going to go blow up something?
Not only associated with, I've been on vacation. He's been to my house.
You need to blow this whole story out for everybody right now. Cause Jules went over it yesterday on her show, or maybe it might even have been this morning.
Yep.
She went over it.
No, it was yesterday.
Yeah,
well,
yesterday,
if she went over it again today too, I don't know. But, so to refresh, there was a kid here in Hampton, which is the city over, worked at Cracker Barrel. Apparently he was on his phone. And his boss told him to get off the phone, and he got belligerent with his boss, threatened to beat up his boss in front of everybody, in front of the customers and everything, and then threatened to blow up the place, and then left and came back 3 hours later, threatened the manager again, and then that's when they called the police. So this kid was in a special needs class for troubled youths here in the city. His mom is my wife's best friend. One of her best friends. They're over at the house all the time. I know this kid. He's gay. He's had a very troubled life. His parents got divorced, badly. His dad cheated on him with his, wife's sister. So, they've had their ups and downs.
TMI.
Yeah, the kid's a little, but it's kind of background on the mental state of this child. And he's not right in the mind. And he did get bail today. He's out, at home today. He got bailed out by his dad this morning.
Wow. So is this going to get, kid going to get off from affluenza? Is he from?
No way. No way. His dad is actually an E9. He's a security police.
He might get shipped off to military school then.
I don't think this kid would make it. He's, very confrontational.
He said he wouldn't make it in jail either.
Well, he won't make it in jail. He'll be somebody's toy. I would feel bad for him if he went to jail.
Dude, sit down, man, for the last 10 minutes of the show. I've worked my butt off today. I'm tired. I did. Anyway, go ahead. Finish.
And I was thinking about the lady that's on before us Wednesday, about her parenting techniques and everything else. And, would it have helped a child like this? I think about that. If would he have done all this had he been raised under her method? Don't know. I thought about that instantly when I was listening to her show Wednesday night before ours.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if this kid was her kid, would she be on this show being able to say that she's accomplished the same kind of things? I don't know. I mean, that's why I think every child's different.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the kid's, he's got some serious growing up to do, it sounds like. I mean, if you're going to threaten to beat the hell out of your boss, then you got to kind of wonder what his mom and dad did.
He's been in jail before too, just so you know. He has been in jail before.
For petty shit or for threatening
theft.
people?
It was petty shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't violent stuff. He stole his mom's credit cards, would steal from his mom and dad and sell stuff. And
now, is his dad overseas a lot or is he there?
Yeah, they're here. They're both here in Newport News.
And he's not shipped out or nothing. I mean, he works right there, desk job type of deal.
Yep. He's in charge of the security police up at Fort Eustis.
Oh, so he's a cop's kid. I got that. Okay.
Yeah, he's the head cop up there at Fort Eustis.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And I'll know more. They're all going out to breakfast tomorrow morning, so I'll find out more from my wife.
Yippee skippy.
Fill you in next week.
Saturday. You coming on tomorrow night?
For After Last Cup. Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. What do you mean maybe?
Maybe it was a good time last week.
Yeah, we did have a good time. It was a damn good show. Mm-hmm. Everybody liked that show, I think.
Yeah, it was good.
All right. We still got some time left. And we can't really spend any more time on that jackass till we get any more information.
Yeah, I'll have some more information next week.
Yeah. Well, if you see him, tell him I called him a jackass.
They posted it, our local news had it on their Facebook page. There were 235 comments in the matter of, I don't know, a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal. I mean, they were so brutal on this kid. I was like, God, I hope his mom doesn't read the Facebook page.
Yikes. Somebody will send her something.
Yeah, well, she's the one that brought it up to everybody at work and showed them the newspaper article. So they would hear it from her and not newspaper or secondhand.
Okay, moving on. I just saw something in the room. Salt Lake City, Mike, you lost your dog yesterday or today. Today, I think.
Oh, my condolences.
Yeah, my condolences to you, brother.
I lost mine last year.
I've lost a couple of dogs, and I know how hard that is, dude. I love you. You know I love you, and my heart goes out to you, brother. If you need me, you know how to reach me. Whew. Man, I can't stand doing that. I know that he had a long life. I'm pretty sure his dog was very, quite old. So I know he had a long, good life, but it's hard. It really is hard when they go. Cause like my dogs are my kids. I've never had kids, so I've always treated my dogs like my kids. That's the way they're family. They're not just my pets. They're my family.
It's like that meme on Facebook. It says, let me be clear. My owners like me more than they like you. Right. If you don't want hair on you, don't sit on the furniture,
Right. This house belongs to me. I live here.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I don't let dogs, I don't let them get in the way. I don't let dogs get in the way. They're a part of my family. If I trip over them, that's a part of my family. I try not to yell at my dogs. Like I'll yell for Tippy if she goes away. Like she likes taking off in the woods here, man. Mm-hmm. And sometimes she'll be gone a little longer than I want her to be gone. And I'll holler and she won't come back. And I'll holler and she won't come back. And I haven't put her collar on her for Oh my God. I bet she hadn't had her collar on for over a month because I like my dogs to be free.
Sure.
You know, I don't chain them up. I don't tie them to trees. I don't.
Me either. Ever.
I don't do that shit.
Ever. Mine sleeps in my bed with me. Big old black lab.
So I'll get a little nervous and I'll holler a little louder and I'll whistle a little louder. And then finally I'll see her, you know, and that's a really good feeling when you see her come up out of the woods. And I can't stay mad. As soon as I see her, I can't stay mad.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
She's no longer in trouble. She came back. Everything's cool. She thinks she's in trouble still because I was hollering, you know, but yeah, I love my dog.
It's hard on the kids too, because we got a golden lab. Her name was Sunny. When my son was 2 and my daughter was just born, and she died year before last. So my son was, 16 and my daughter was 14. Mm-hmm. Every day of their life, they would come home from school and that dog would be there. I mean, from the very first memory they have, the dog was there. And, it was hard on them too. The kids took it, rough too, because that was the first animal that we'd lost.
Yeah. As long as they die of old age.
Exactly.
I'm cool with that. I mean, I'm not cool with it. Like I bawled like a son of a bitch when Max went,
Well, we put ours to sleep and I was holding her at the vet's office as they.
Yeah, I did both of mine too. Yeah.
Yep.
Max got to where, he just couldn't get up no more.
That's how mine was. She wouldn't get up and then she was just crying in pain. And I was just like, I'm sorry, baby.
And I came upstairs a few years back. I heard a strange noise and I came upstairs and Brandy was sprawled out on the floor, kicking the wall, having a seizure. Mm-hmm. And she was at 14, man, and usually like if she was having a bad dream or whatever, you touch them and they come out, they wake up and look at you like, what? I was having a dream. But I tried to get her to come out of it and she wouldn't come out of it. It took like 5 minutes and I was scared she was going to choke on her tongue. Mm-hmm. So I did what I could. And then after that, I was like, I can't watch her go through that again. So
no. You remember the show Scrubs?
Yep, I do.
Do you remember that he had his dogs stuffed? Do you remember that he had a stuffed dog?
Oh, no, I never watched it. I just saw the.
It was a lovely show. It was one of the best shows on TV. But when my dog dies, I wouldn't mind taking it to a taxidermist and stuffing it and keeping her around in the corner or something, just because, I love my dog that much.
Negative. I love my dogs too, more than most humans. But no, that's just creepy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I could,
and I'll always have a dog.
I might
have a dog.
I don't have no deer heads or nothing like that. Usually I'll try to find sheds or whatever if I can find a good shed. Mm-hmm. But my Uncle Don had deer heads all over his basement. I thought they were cool for a while. And then as I got older, I was like,
kind of creepy.
No, not creepy. Just what's the point? I saw it, I shot it, I ate it. Good. You
put a Santa hat on it at Christmas. You put sunglasses on it in the summer and give it a cigar. That's what you do with a deer head now.
Well, yeah, maybe one. Maybe one. But, you can just, why not take the skin and make a coat out of it or something? That's the way I want to preserve it. Oh, that's a nice jacket. Thanks, man. I killed that last year. Something like that.
Yeah.
Pets. I want some more dogs out here. I've got a huge ass yard now, and I want some more dogs.
Get some strays from the shelter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was talking about it earlier today, actually, with a friend of mine. I went to the page. I went to the Humane Society's page for Mountain Home, and I was looking through all the dogs, and there's about 30 of them or more on the page. Mm-hmm. And I got down to the bottom of the page. And I stopped and I thought, and I was like, wow, I want 10 of them already.
Yep.
So I better not ever go into this building. But, I wouldn't mind having at least one more, if not 2. Cause dogs are pack animals. They really are. They're a pack animal. They get along better. They live a longer life when there's more than one of them in a home.
Well,
but
I
just
will
having
say
a dog
this.
will make you live a longer life.
I will say this, that if you're like you and you can be around your dog a lot during the day,
Yep.
then that dog doesn't need another dog. But it's when somebody goes to work all day and their dog's sitting here by themselves that they go crazy.
Sometimes they do that when they're twins too.
Oh,
When there's two of them,
I got you.
Somebody will get going on the corner of the door and the other one's like, hey, let me help. You come home and there's a huge hole in the door and the dog is in the front room instead of the bedroom.
Dogs are the best, you know.
Oh man, they're just personality wise. I mean, I've seen some really dumb dogs and I've seen some people that didn't know how to breed dogs and they got them too close together and that made stupid, dangerous dogs.
Supposedly pigs are smarter, but.
I had a friend that had a pig. Actually.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of them around here.
Yeah. I've had friends that had monkeys. I've had friends that, I used to have aquariums. I was really heavy duty into aquariums for a long time because I really
liked them. Yeah, me too.
And, I've had a snake before. One of my roommates once back in the service had tarantulas.
Yep.
I've been through the gamut, but I'm a dog guy. I like cats too, but I just don't like.
I got a cat.
Well,
I got a cat too.
I really don't like cats in my house because they walk through their shit and then they walk all over your counters.
Yep.
So I'm not really hip on that too much. But, I had one just a couple years back that was really, really special to me because I found her and brought her back to work with me and kept her at work. And, she was just a cool cat. She was very affectionate to everybody that was there. It wasn't a standoffish cat. When somebody else came in the room, usually when you know somebody's got a cat, it's because you smell the litter box. You don't see the cat.
Right.
Not this cat. This cat was in your face from the time you came in. So very loving.
Hey, I want to throw a recipe out there before we run out of time here real quick.
Right on. You got about 1 minute.
All right. You get a muffin pan. I'm talking about either a disposable or a regular one. Fill the bottom full of bacon and then halfway full of apple juice. Get yourself some chicken thighs. Debone them if you can, if you know how to do it. If you don't, just go to YouTube and type in deboning a chicken thigh. Set them things in your muffin pans. And then either if you don't have a smoker, smoke them for 2 hours. But if not, put them in your oven for 2 hours. The best chicken you'll ever have in your life.
Right on. That was right on the money, brother.
Right on.
Peace and love, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night for After the Last Cup. I think Turboville's next, and then we got Alex Allen for his final show. And then Anti-Media Radio with Levon. UCY.TV. See ya.